Hello, guys. Welcome to the season 26 CHEL show. This is the first round of the playoffs edition. We have the usual crew here. We have myself. We have Chilltown. Say hello,
Oh,
Chill.
here I am. What's up, guys?
We have Krim,
Hey, what's up, guys?
and we have Levins. Levins is going to be our guest this week on the show. So say hello, Levins.
Hello.
All right. So just quickly, some rule stuff for the playoffs. It's basically just a playoff lineup requirements. Skaters can only play a maximum of 5 games per series. They're limited to only playing in 3 of the first 4 games and 2 of the final 3 games. Also, if a player is available, like we don't know availabilities obviously, but if a player is available, they must play in 1 of the first 4 games and 1 of the last 3 games of the series. So everyone should play at least a minimum of 2 games in a series. As far as goalies, when it comes to goalies, there's no limit on how many games a goalie is allowed to play. And a goalie's games do not count towards a player's game limit. So, example, you can play someone as a skater for 2 games and twice in net, but it will only count as 2 games played. So I hope you guys can understand. That's pretty simple. It doesn't really affect your games played if you hop in net. Okay, that's basically all I'm going to talk about as far as the playoff rules. I mean, one thing I could add, we kind of expect and would like that the home team puts their lines. I mean, how do we do that? Home team puts lines in first, right? Kim, is that what we've always done? Right? We want the home team lines in, or do we do
We want
away?
the away
away
team's
team.
lines in
Yeah,
first.
away
For
first.
home
Yeah, I'm
team
gonna get that
advantage.
backwards. You want away first, and then home can put their lines in. So please try to follow that. You guys can. It would just be a kind of respectful thing to do. All right, so guys, let's get to the meat of the show. These playoff matchups. And Chu, what was the first one we were going to address? What do you have lined up for us first?
San Jose, Calgary.
All right, so we got the number 1 seed Calgary versus the number 4 seed San Jose. Now, you want me to go through each one of those things there, Chill? I mean, you want people to kind of look at them? I mean, I can go through each one, but people can probably
Yeah,
see them
maybe
on the
just things
screen
that
right
stand
now.
out, like any big differences. Maybe we can point out.
Yeah, I mean, if you're viewing the show, you can see right now the templates that Chilltown has up there for you. I mean, just some things to point out. The Sharks did win the series against Calgary, which I was surprised when I saw that the Sharks did win the season series 6 games to 2.
Yeah,
Not that it means much, but what do you guys think
yeah. I
about
mean,
that?
six to
Any
two.
effect on
It's a
this?
it's a pretty sizable difference there. I mean, I think the second or the a bigger one I saw was 7-3 with Toronto and Ottawa. So I think this was
Mm-hmm.
the second largest victory margin. I think. So I mean, again, playoff time. These types of things I don't put too much weight on because everything
Yeah.
changes playoff time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this series is going to be super tight. I see it going maybe game 6, and I'm not sure who's going to win. I'm not going to say yet.
Krim, well, you got to pick somebody. Krim, what are you thinking on this one? I mean, should we not ask you since you're involved in this series,
Yeah,
or
I'm not going to go into my own team here, but
right?
it's going to be a good series. The teams are kind of built slightly different. I think you see Calgary is more of a defensive team.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have a little more offense on our side, so it'll be interesting to see how things match up against each other, right?
Yeah, I mean, the goals for you guys are third and they're fifth, but then goals against they're second. You guys are eighth.
Yeah.
So there's some discrepancies there.
The Sharks are
Um,
first power play, so
right. Mm-hmm.
it's going
Yep.
to be
Yeah.
important for Calgary to stay out of the box.
Right. Since they're fifth, I mean, their penalty kills second. I mean, it's not like
That's true.
it's
Yeah.
good. It'll be a good matchup. Maybe it'll be a good matchup there. San Jose
Special
power play
teams.
versus the second ranked penalty kill of Calgary. As far as anything else that really stands out, I don't know how much you can worry about shots. I mean, hits. San Jose gets the edge, but maybe that'll have some type of bearing on the series. I don't know if it will. It's not that much of an edge.
I think the biggest variable is the game, how it's going to roll out. You never know those EA bounces one night
Oh
from
yeah,
one
of
team, the
course.
other night. So home ice advantage doesn't mean much in this game, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I agree.
Usually, I don't know how you feel, Evans or Chilltown, but when I play center, I find I usually do better in my away games than I do in my home games.
100% agree, and I don't know why. I think it's a
Really?
placebo at this point, but
I never
yeah,
even I never even noticed
Huh.
that honestly.
Yeah,
I
I'm not paying attention.
100% feel like I win more like 50-50s, I call them. Like if you're just both doing backhand win, I feel like I
Right.
definitely win more on the road, and I have no idea why. It's probably just a mental thing at this point, but
Right. I didn't even thought about that. I have to start paying attention to that now because I've never even crossed my mind. Never in
Yeah, I
my
always forget
head.
that. I don't know why.
I don't have that
if it's
problem,
going well
boys.
for you, Dusty, don't worry
I
about
pretty
it.
much
You just put the
dominate.
ball chill.
I just pretty much dominate wherever I am.
Oh God.
All right, all
57.8 on the year. How are ya?
Come on now, Cliff.
He cheats. It's called the KT factor, right? Right, Grim?
Yeah. He gets more face-offs for the KT.
Oh God, that's funny. All right, so let's make some All right, let's see. Can we agree on a key player? Let's look about categories. There's somebody that we think is going to have to. Who's going to have to? If they're going to win this series, who's it going to
Yeah.
be?
There's actually I could pick 3 people on that team. I don't know about you, Chilltown. What do you think?
Well, because of your offense, I'm thinking it's going to be Happy Gilmore and BBB. They're going to have to be the key players. Well, mostly BBB though, and he's been playing solid all season. So I think he's gonna have to stand out like he's done all season.
I'm gonna go with this different person. I'm gonna say Pierre Macaque.
Mm.
Gonna be huge. I know Happy takes a lot of penalties, so hopefully he can, tone it back for the playoffs. Because, like you said, we have the first power play in the league, which could really hurt them. But Pierre being there, I think that could be the game changer.
I mean, they do lead the penalty minutes. We did mention they lead the league in penalty minutes during the regular season, so that could be a factor. I mean, I guess
Yep.
you can point out. I mean, it's really the three guys, right? You look at if you look at Calgary, it's those 3 top guys. It's BBB, Happy, and McCack. Those are the guys that really are the main cogs of the team, and they're going to be the guys that will make the difference. So those are all pretty obvious choices, but it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? It's the way it goes.
Yep.
Now, what about San Jose? What do you think about San Jose? Who's gonna be the? I mean, I mentioned before when we were discussing it. I know you and Cass, Krim. I mean, I originally was thinking it's gonna be you and Cass that are gonna, obviously you guys carry the offense for the most part.
Yeah.
But Burrito's gonna have to be big too.
Yep.
It always comes down to
Yep.
the goalies, right? And Burrito's gonna have to be one of those guys also that.
I think
I'm gonna put some,
the back 3, the goalie and both defensemen.
I'm gonna put pressure actually on Sopping with Hams.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna have to step up, and he's playing center for most part, so he's in
Okay.
both tonight, so he can make a big difference.
Yeah.
If he can contribute on both ends, like he did the prior season when he won the cup. Should be interesting.
All right. So what are we thinking as far as this series? Who's going to win it and how many games? I know Chill kind of wussied out, but if we got to pick somebody here. What are we thinking?
All right, I'm going with Sharks in 6.
Okay. Levins.
Ooh.
We'll let you pick that. We won't let Krim pick this one since he's involved in this one. So Levins, what are you thinking on this one?
I gotta go Calgary in 7, man. I think Scott's too strong. I mean, we played them 10 times on the year, being in our division, and I think out of the 6 games they won, like, we outplayed them in 3 of them, and Scott just stole the show.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's too much of a wall back there, especially with Pierre helping out, crashing on the middle. And none of you guys brought up JoJo what, dude. Sick player, actually, back there with Happy.
Okay. Yeah, no, we haven't mentioned him. It's hard to get everybody involved, but you're right. Another guy that could
He's
make
been
a
playing
difference.
phenomenal this year too. For
Yeah.
Ham's got he's got to lock down Pierre, man. That's gonna be the matchup, is Hams versus Pierre in my mind.
And I mean, another guys we can mention, like even Fresh, right? Fresh has had a very solid game season on D so
Yep.
far, correct? I mean, nothing to laugh about. I mean, I don't know. That's a tough one. I was going back and forth on it. I just both teams are just, I don't know. I originally was gonna pick San Jose, but I went and I think I like Calgary's depth a little more. So I'm gonna go with Calgary. I think it's gonna be Calgary in 7. I think that's where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say Calgary in 7. Now, can San Jose? I mean, you got Krim. You guys could easily. I mean, I'm not saying easily, but this could definitely be a series you guys can win too. The way so it's a crapshoot as far as predicting it. But I'll say Calgary.
Gonna be
in 7
interesting.
Yeah.
Guarantee
definitely gonna be a good series. I say Calgary in 7. All right. So are we ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah, why not?
Next series. Okay, so we'll go. It's Los Angeles versus Dallas. Number 2 Los Angeles versus number 3 Dallas. The Kings won the season series four. Well, they won. It was 4-3-1 in favor of the Kings. So it was very really close. The season series. You guys can see the stats there. Anything in the team stats that sticks out to you guys? Looking at those team stats of LA and Dallas.
Well, goals for, they're both high-scoring teams, right? First and second in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a high-scoring affair on both sides, I think. Goalie-wise, who's your goalie, Dallas, again?
Habs, right?
Habs.
Yeah,
Habs.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so Habs
Not
versus
tonight though.
Habs versus
Beer
Bears.
nuts, right?
I think it's going to be, if I want to jump to key players, I think that's going to stand out as well, right? I mean, with these two offenses, the D and the goalies back there are going to contribute, or are going to have to contribute in a big way to keep, the top 0 and 5 from scoring too much.
That's true.
Yeah, I was just looking at something, and both. I'm just was quickly looking at the rosters before. I'm just looking at the D rotation, and I mean both. It's crazy too. Both D rotations for both teams are really really solid. You know, you have Mitch, Roscoe, and Hawkeye. They're all plus players, and they've contributed offensively as well. And then you got Whip, Duff, T. Daly, and Whiskey have also have played really well for LA. You know, so you mentioned that they're both two high scoring teams. You know, interesting to see how the defensive units can handle themselves with the offenses. You know, oh, both that's gonna be a tough one as well. Anything else? I mean, they both like to shoot the puck. You got third and second in shooting. Goals against, they're close. Sixth, LA sixth and Dallas is fourth. LA does like to throw their body around a little bit more than Dallas. You can see there in the stats. I mean, but I don't know if you can really much you can go by on that. Special teams. Well, Dallas definitely gets the edge in power play, as you guys can see. Yeah, it looks like LA's power play. I'm surprised they really struggled. They were 12th in the regular season.
It's interesting.
Dallas is third. Yeah.
Interesting.
Looking at both teams, I mean, I think.
Yep.
Just like what you mentioned about Calgary, Dallas's depth is pretty deep, and I think their line 1, line 2, and line 3 are pretty solid enough to probably take this in 5 games. I'm going to call it right now. Dallas in 5.
Ooh.
Dallas in 5.
You're a
Dallas
bold man, brother. I appreciate it.
That's a very, very bold prediction there.
Hey.
I wish I had as
I'm
much
okay.
confidence in us as you.
Hey,
I don't know.
I know availability is going to play a big role in both teams. I know Habs can't play Sundays, so kind of puts a little more of an impact on these Sunday games. Whether you can take a split or if you can, fall 2 in the hole, it's going to be a big thing. So I think if I was to predict this series, I'm going to say Kings in 6.
Kings in 6. Huh. I don't know.
Just saying that because I picked Calgary.
Yeah, buddy. You know what?
Definitely.
All right, let me see. Again, I looked at this one again. I went back and forth. I was trying to compare the rosters. I was looking at this and that. And if I have to pick, I'm going to go with Dallas. I just think the depth is there. I think Dallas will take this one, but I think it's going to go. I'm going to say 6. I'm going to say Dallas in 6. That's where I think it's going to go. Now let's talk any key players. Let's talk about LA. Who's going to? I mean, there's an obvious one, but
Pretty
yeah,
simple, yeah.
I mean, what do we think with LA? Who's the key player
Whip
for LA
Lash.
if they're going to get through this?
No,
Old man Whip.
Old man Whip. I think we're all gonna probably lean towards mainly the same direction, and the obvious choice would be Vibe Beats, but I wouldn't put anything past Beer Nuts. That guy can go out there and he can steal games for you. So even the games you don't have Vibe on the ice, it might be still difficult to get that puck in the net.
I think there's no doubt that Vibe's going to perform, right? But that's why I said before, the key player is going to have to be, Beer Nuts and the Team D. So Whiplash, Duff, Daly, Whiskey.
Yep.
They're going to have to step up big time because like I said, all 3 lines or 2 lines of Dallas have plenty of scoring ability, whereas I think LA, they probably have like 1.5 lines that can put pucks in the net
Well,
consistently.
you got close too, right? I'll mention him. He's got 100. He had 131 points, so that wasn't exactly a bad season. I mean, he played 60 games, but he put up 131 points.
Wow, 60 games.
So yeah.
Is that
So
the record?
it might be. I don't know. I just saw
forward?
that myself.
If it
I
is,
just
he'll
saw that
know.
myself.
Well, congratulations, close.
Shout out
Well,
close.
let's not forget about Zero, who played 57 games. So it's
that's
not
true,
that
yeah.
far off.
That's true, yeah.
Yep.
Zero's up there too, but close. I mean, he can be a factor too. I mean, he's 131 points is no joke. Even he outscored that Chilltown guy in the Rangers. So I mean, geez.
Well, yeah. I mean, I wish I had 20 more games too, though.
So yeah, I think it can be close. But we talked about the goalies. I mean, every series is going to be the goalies, just because this game is so unforgiving for goalies and the bounces, and yeah, I think it's going to really come down to the goalies a lot.
Yeah, goalies and just team D, right? Overall, like forwards
Yes.
need to back check
Yep.
because defense has had trouble with NHL 20 from the get go. With bumps not working like they used to. So just overall, team D has to step up.
Yeah, but I think play styles are going to change in the playoffs too, right? Because in regular season, scoring goals is a little more, easy to do. But when the playoffs and the defense clamps down, you have a winger staying down a bit lower. People are just
Right.
every goal is huge in the playoffs. So
Yeah.
whenever a team gets that first goal, it's just such a big advantage, right? So we'll see how it goes.
We talked about that last week. It's so odd how that happens. I mean, I can see it when you watch the playoffs in real life. I mean, you can see the intensity get notched up. But here we are playing a video game hockey league. It's the same way though. I mean, I feel like when you get to the playoffs, even though we're playing a game here, I just feel like when it gets to the playoffs, it just gets so much more intense and more
Oh, yeah.
defensive, like
Yeah.
you guys are saying. It's crazy, I mean, I'll talk about it more when we get to our Toronto Ottawa series, but it's just odd how that happens. It's just funny how it happens. Okay, so we kind of want to talk about Dallas and who the key players are going to be for Dallas. We didn't get to that. I think we touched on L. What about Dallas? Who are we gonna? I mean, obviously, again, it's going to be Zero, who had 195 points. He's going to be obviously be part of it. But what else? What else? I mean, we know it's going to be the goaltending. There's somebody else that has to kind of
Levens for sure.
Levens.
Um,
Okay, so
He's,
Yeah, he's gonna be playing
Don't
half
put pressure on
goalie,
11s.
half center.
It's
and
nothing
maybe
you
some
don't got to
D.
tell me, man.
He played,
Yeah, he's
I
playing
gotta,
set- yeah.
I gotta get it together.
he played
he's
every
playing center,
position.
he's playing goalie. So, he's going to help shut down the offensive threats from the other team, the way he plays
Right.
center. So,
Yep.
if he can, keep the, vibe, away from the net and keep the pressure away, it might really help the team, right? So, I would say Levens.
Yeah, I'm looking at this, and I mean, I'm just looking at the offensive numbers real fast in Dallas. And Zero had 195 points, Top Chef had 64, Fame Pup had 75, and Bong had 84. So I mean, the lowest point total was 64 points for the Dallas offense, which is pretty impressive to me.
Yeah.
I mean, we know the numbers we've seen from offensive players this season are directly related to the game, because some of the numbers are just insane as far as points that were put up. But I think that reflects a lot on how the game was developed and created, because it's so, you guys know, it's such in favor of the offense, and it's so obvious in the stats, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That,
Oh yeah.
All right, so do you want to go on to the next series?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so this one is we're doing the Rangers, right? I'm looking at the Rangers here.
Whoa.
I'm kidding. All right, so this one too, I was surprised with the season series. Again, not that it means much, but Florida did beat New York. It was 4-3-1. They were, 4 wins, 3 losses, and a tie, or whatever, overtime, whatever it was. But I was surprised at that Florida actually gave you guys a run for your money over the regular season. I mean, the guys can see right there the comparison. I mean, point wise, it wasn't even close. I mean, looking at all these stat categories, I mean, a lot of them are in favor of you guys. Goals for, goals against, what do you call power play? stuff like that. I mean, Florida. Looking at Florida, Florida likes to shoot. Not shoot. Likes to throw the body around. They're second. They were second in the league with hits through the regular season, where
very
you guys were
physical.
ninth.
Mm-hmm.
Right, you guys were ninth. They were second in the league with hits. Um, Anything else in those team comparisons that kind of stick out to you guys at all? Anything over there that you say, well, that might be a difference in the series? Yes, no, maybe.
I just don't know if Florida has the goal scoring to like get through CHEL's team. I think CHEL's
Yeah.
team is probably the most complete from top to bottom defensively, as far as the forwards back checking and the defensemen forcing things into the
Mhm.
middle, and
Mhm.
then stupid bastard in net. I don't know if Florida has the offense to get through that kind of wall.
Yeah, it's a good
11th
point
in
because
the league.
Florida's, yeah, they were 11th in scoring, and New York was third in goals against. So goals might be tough to come by for Florida once, like we were saying, it tightens up in the playoffs defensively. It's going to be might be a struggle for Florida to get some goals. That could be
Yep.
the big difference. That will be the difference, obviously. If they can't score, then that's it. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to talk about this, and then if not, we'll get to the key players and those. I don't know. Anything else?
I'm staying quiet. So
Okay, you're staying quiet. So all right, let's talk about New York. Well, who's going to have to, besides who's going to have to step up
As a
and
key player, who do you think has to step up?
whatever it is, key player step up, whatever. It's kind of the same thing. Who's going to be the key player for the Rangers? They're going to win this series.
I think the easy choice here would be KT, but he's always pretty stable. He, comes in and does his job. So I think I'm gonna swing it down to Sabres. He's had a great season, a career season for him. So he just comes out, plays his game. I think he could be a big contributing factor for the Rangers.
Yeah, that offense. Go ahead, Levins. Go ahead.
I mean, it's another situation where you have like the obvious guys. You have Sabres, you have Burks, you have Chill, you have KT. Like
Yeah.
these are all just household names at this point. I'll go with the rookie, stupid bastard, who he played 62 games. He won 41 of them. It's like just over 3 GAA and almost an 800 save percent. Which, I mean, you can say it's because, like I said, he's behind that wall of a defensive front. But I think it's. I mean, you can write this off as like movie logic or something because it is a video game. But like, he's a rookie coming into his first playoff series, and I know, just from experience, I was a lot more prepared for playoffs last season than I was season 24. So it's guys, you can say it's movie logic, but guys play better and harder in the playoffs. So he's got to
Yeah.
be ready for it.
I mean, I'm just looking at the top three scorers. They each broke 100 points. I mean, that's gonna be tough to contain. Chill, Sabres, and Burks. But I want to mention two other guys that could, OTH and Slicky. I know OTH was one of Chill's unsung heroes. I think one week, and he's deceptively good, especially in the playoffs. He just seems to have a nose to the net at certain times. So I want to mention those two guys too, Slicky and OTH. I mean, Slicky put up 77 points, and OTH put up 89 points. So I mean, I want to mention those guys as well. They can make a difference in the series, as well. Besides the guys that we mentioned. All right, so what are you thinking about this series? What's gonna happen in this one?
You
What
want
do
a
you
key
think,
player
Levins?
for
Or Krim? Go ahead, Krim.
Florida?
Yeah. Oh, right. Forgot about that. I'm skipping ahead. What about Florida? Let's get to Florida. What do you think? Anybody
Yeah,
stand out?
they have a very defensive-looking team on the board here. Hootnator's had a great season in net, so I'm kind of leaning towards Hootnator, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and pick All the Way. He's a very defensive defenseman, and he can shut down some of the top scoring threats. So I think if he has a good series, he could be a difference maker for Florida.
All right. Anybody that you think Levins will have to kind of step up or be a key player to get Florida through this
Well,
series? It's going to be tough. I mean,
Krim definitely took mine because I was going to say Russ just because of all their offense with Sabres and whatnot. But
right.
I'll go the opposite end of the spectrum then, man. It's got to be Banks. Like, it's got to be the captain. He's their leading point getter. I know he had the most games out of him, but he's got to find a way because the sides are going to be shut down with KT. That CJ kid's good. He's got to find a way to open stuff up through the middle to collapse on him, and he's going to have to drive the offense if they want any chance at all.
Okay. Makes sense. I'm gonna go with Bernsey. I think Bernsey will have an effect on this series. I think he's another underrated kind of guy, and I think his two-way game is going to be, it could be a huge factor in this if he can help kind of slow down the New York offense. Playing a defensive forward position, I think he could be huge in this series as well. He can make a difference. Could be a key player for them. All right. Anything else you want to mention? Any about the rosters before we talk about predictions for this series? I kind of went ahead. Do you want to be good with picking out certain guys? You good?
I think we just go ahead and go with predictions
I think
here.
the Rangers' depth is just so good.
Yeah, they got a solid team.
Well, let's get to
Top
that.
to
So
bottom,
what are we predicting here? Levins, go ahead.
I will
what do you think's
say-
gonna? Oh, it's Krim. Go ahead, Krim.
All right. I'm gonna say
got?
Rangers in 5.
Okay.
I'll
Evans.
I'll do you one better, man. I like guys on Florida, but it's Rangers in 4 for me.
Ooh.
Wow.
I
gonna
think
go-
they're too
go ahead.
dominant. I really do.
Yeah, keep going. Yeah, I'm kind of with Levins. I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go 4. No, I'm gonna say New York. As far as give them a run for their money, I'll go New York in 5. I'll go New York in 5, just like Krim is. I think, like you guys have both stated, I think New York is just too good.
Yeah, and I think every team that makes the playoffs can at least be competitive. So I don't think anyone's gonna run away with the 4-game sweep this first round either. So see someone fighting for a win.
I mean, I was tempted to go New York in 6 because I just feel like I don't know, but
I think it's gonna be close games.
Yeah,
It's gonna be low scoring, I think, and close. So
yeah, I go right. So we got New York in 4 and 5 and 5. Okay, all right. So let's go on to this last one. I'll kind of stay out of this one as well since my team is involved, but it's Ottawa versus Toronto, and you guys can see up on your screens the template there for different team categories. Anything stand out to you guys? Like I said, I'll try to stay out of this one a little bit.
I mean, goals against, right? So with
That is
Wiener
incre-
back there,
that's
it's
incredible.
huge.
Yeah.
Under 200, that's insane.
the penalty kill is number 1, 2 in the league. That's how Lehner always builds his teams. He builds defensive juggernauts. So I'm not surprised there.
You mean Bautista? It's not Bautista builds.
Yeah, Bautista. Yeah. And like having that extra threat of having Habs Sven up at the front, like that man alone can drive an offense.
Yeah.
So the team's really well built. So not surprised they finished where they did.
Joel 11s. You want to add to that?
I was surprised to see that they played 10 times versus each other. Versus.
They're same division, so they play more against each other.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, same as what Krim said. Goals against the defense on Ottawa, and I think just to make a point, I'm pretty sure I won my prediction that Batista passed 90 for the season on defensive rating. So,
Look at this guy too.
just want to throw that out there.
Jeez,
you
who
know,
brought this guy in the show?
Big
This guy
brain
off.
chill.
Damn.
And I mean, on the other side, Toronto's pretty solid, pretty middle of the pack in terms of the rankings. But I mean, if you look at their lineup, just like Dallas has, they have 2 solid, front lines with Mash and Marty. Whether you split them up or not, they're a force to be reckoned with. So nothing stat-wise stands out except for what stands out on Ottawa's side, but I think this series is going to be really tight. Even though during the regular season, Ottawa clearly, won it outright, but I think during the playoffs, just like we all been saying the whole time, it's going to be much tighter. And with these rosters, I think it's probably going to go at least 6 games, if not 7.
I will say this: we played them last week, and the games were so tight. They were really, really good games, and they were so tight. Just want to throw that in. It was back and forth, and it was close. I think we won one in OT, and the other one was, the other one was close as well. So I think it's gonna be tight. Just from what I've witnessed being there. I don't know.
Key players?
Yeah, key
Um,
players.
I think overall Ottawa probably has the best like top 4 defensive core. Like if you're taking like their 4 defensemen, I think that might be the best in the league. With I don't know much about Mad Moose, but Bautista's all-star. Odd Guy is incredibly underrated. Vitamin T squared out of left field, all-star.
Yeah.
Like no out of nowhere, bro. So that's and then you got Laner if you can somehow get through all that. So it's going to be a grind from that perspective because I think Toronto definitely takes the edge offensively with like Mash and Marty. That Shibby guy can play everywhere. He's not bad at forward either, but it's going to be a slugfest.
I mean, I do have to say it's nice. It's such a comfort knowing that Laner's back there playing net. I don't know what it is. I mean, he's all over the place when it comes to other stuff. When he's in net, it's just a confidence builder knowing he's back there. Having Levins, not the all the goalies in this league are good too, but just having him back there is just so reassuring, honestly. So I think that's going to be a huge deal. But let's talk about the key players let's talk about Toronto. Who's gonna have to step up for Toronto if they're gonna win this series? Anyone? Don't all jump in.
I'm thinking it's going to be a mix of Marty and Mash, right? I mean, those two guys, they're going to have to put pucks on net, and a lot of them because of, like we just talked about, the D and Laner back there. So they got to put a lot of pressure on them. If anyone's going to score, it's going to be those guys.
Yeah.
I think, Mash is going to step up regardless. He always brings his game up a level in the playoffs, so I'm not going to go with him. I'm going to put it onto the actual Team D of Toronto, because they're going to have to step up together, work as a unit, and help protect Dankin back there. He hasn't had his best season this season so far, but you can always turn around. He's sitting at a 784. I think if his defense can help keep shots, from further away, it'll really help him out in the back end.
Yep.
I'll go. I mean, you guys kind of covered most of it, but I'll go Crazy Slippers. Actually, he's probably, I mean, statistically, even like the third best forward on that team with Marty and Mash. I think Mash and Marty, we know what they do, and they obviously require a lot of attention from the opposing team's defense. So I think if Crazy can elevate his game enough that he's drawing just as much attention as they are and forces them to spread out more, that's going to be big for Toronto, because otherwise they can just clamp down on the two superstars, and if Crazy can't finish, then it's going to be a tough series for Toronto.
Yeah, that was good. I like those good analysis there. Yep, I kind of agree with that one. Chill. What about you?
I already said Mash and Marty, but I'll skip to Ottawa now, if you want.
Yeah, let's go to Ottawa.
Yeah, I think, the defense is going to be the defense. I mean, between Odd Guy, Vitamin, Batista, Mad Moose, and then Laner back there, I think that's a given, right? They're going to have a hard time scoring on you guys. So to step up, I think it's just going to have to be between you and Habs, leading the charge, making those plays and putting the points in. So I think you and Habs will be my key players.
All right, Krim, Ottawa.
For Ottawa, I'm gonna actually throw you under the bus here. Put a little pressure on your shoulders. I think you're gonna be a big part of the team. So I know how you play defensive center. So you already have a pretty defensive team, and if you have yourself playing, your top end game, you're holding it down there. And if you can help contribute to the front end, score a couple of goals, I think you could be a game changer in this round.
Oh God, don't like the pressure. I hope I can. Hope I can make a difference. Thanks, jerks. Levins. What about Iowa? What do
You know what,
stands
man?
out?
I'd love to go my IRL buddy Latosky, but I know he's not necessarily the top line, so I'll go another longtime buddy. MK Swan, man, blowing me away this year. $3 million.
Oh, yeah.
Finishes the year 56 goals, 56 apples. Are you kidding me, man? Like, I've played with Swan for probably 3 years across various CHELs now. Great guy, great player. never saw this coming. So like, if he can keep this up, there's no doubt in my mind this is Ottawa's series because they already have you, Dusty, and then Habs fan. If Swan maintains the course and just keeps putting up numbers in bunches, you guys can go far.
Yeah, he's been. I hadn't played with him before. He's been pleasant. He's been a pleasant surprise. He's very slippery on that. He's very slippery on the right wing. He gets through some things. I'm surprised sometimes, like body checks, and he gets around guys sometimes. And I'm like, wow, how did he get around that guy? So I'm impressed with Big Swan just playing with him for the first time. So he could, he could be a huge difference in this series, for sure. Yeah, I mean, anybody else interested to stand out? I think we pretty much covered it for guys that we think are going to step up. I mean, we know it's the goalies, and that's for every series. All right, what about predictions? What's going on? How's this going to end up, this Ottawa-Toronto series? Again, I'm going to stay out of it, but
I'm going to say Ottawa in 7.
okay, Ottawa in 7.
I'm
Grim?
gonna say Ottawa in 6.
Ottawa in 6 and Levens.
I'm gonna piggyback off that. I'm gonna go Ottawa in 6.
Ottawa in 6. All right. So I think we got everything out of the way as far as the playoffs. Unless there's something else that you guys want to add on to this. Anything else that you guys want to mention? Being in the playoffs before, or any service announcements you want to make to the rookies or anything about the playoffs before we say goodbye?
Really excited. It's exciting times.
Yeah.
Best player
Enjoy it.
ever. Yep.
You're not gonna make it every year, It happens to every team. Like, no matter how good you are, you might not always make the playoffs. So if you're here this season, then go out there, play hard, have fun.
Just a quick question for you guys as owners. Do you guys like the playoff format that we did this season with the wild cards and how it kind of turned out? Just real quickly, did you guys like that format?
I personally
Speak
would
up.
like to. I would like to play every team more evenly, just so
Okay.
it's more fair for getting the standings.
Right. Okay. I mean, we thought about it. I believe we put a lot of thought into it. I mean, if you guys, I'm just not trying to put you guys in the spot. You guys don't say anything if you don't want to say anything. But I'm just curious what you guys thought of it as 3 owners here. I kind of liked it, but that's my opinion. You know,
it was interesting. It was different. It wasn't too bad.
It was different. Yeah. I'm kind of with Krim. I think balancing across even the conference. Like if the conferences want to play each other more, that makes sense to me. But as far as the divisions, though, you can kind of get a little off the rails depending on what's in your division. But overall, I liked it. It was different.
I mean, we tried doing where we kept things mostly in conference and division. You guys saw the breakdown. I mean, we tried to keep it within conference and within division because those are the games that really matter when you came down to it. But there's pros and cons to everything. If some are gonna like it, some aren't gonna like it. All right, well, it's good to hear you guys' feedback on that. And one last thing, this goes to everybody. All-Star voting is open, so don't forget to do that. Again, take your time. Right now, the first stage is just you're going to pick members from your team that will go to the next stage of the voting. So please make sure you do that. We can keep track of participation levels on teams, so your owners may start hounding you if you don't start doing that. We want everyone to try to vote. It's one thing you guys can do that really get involved in the league, so please do it. All right, that's all I'm going to say, guys. I want to wish everybody good luck. Not too much good luck for the Rangers, but everybody else, good luck. And we'll be back with you guys next week we'll do a round 2 playoff show for the CHEL show.
Good luck, everyone.
All right, guys. Yep. Good night.
Au revoir.